Hi, everyone. Good morning. If you don't know me, my name's Imogen, and I work with busy women who really want embodied ways to relieve the stress and tension in their bodies so that they can do what they love and feel good. So today's topic is working at your computer causing you stress? So if you're watching this on the replay or if you join me live, feel free to answer any questions in the comments. Love to hear from you. And even if I don't see them or get to them while I'm on the live video, I will come back and reply later. So you will hear from me one way or the other. So maybe you can answer that question. Does working at the computer cause you stress? And when you think of stress, how do you interpret that? What do you mean? Do you mean, the stress from lots of deadlines, that email from your boss or that awkward client or colleague? Or do you mean like that never-ending to-do list? And yes, they can all be causes of stress. And how does that stress manifest itself in your body? How do you feel emotionally and physically? And so one thing I want you to think about today, that stress isn't just emotional. I think the way we're using it, we say we're feeling stressed, we're feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, we have lots to do, that sort of thing. But there's the physical manifestations of stress. In fact, those are the cues that allow us to know that we are stressed. And I'm just going to refer to my notes for a second to make sure I'm covering all the points that I wanted to share with you today. So yes, so stress is if we define it, it literally means it's a kind of physical force, a pressure on us. So that can be an emotional pressure, as I was just talking about. But that is also a physical pressure. And if you think of the posture that a lot of us get into as we're at the computer, people are getting hunched down, scrunched up, tight, tense, head forward. Those are physical symptoms of stress, and they can cause a lot of discomfort and pain over time. So definitely worth addressing the whole. Just going to make sure. So what I'd like you to think about is that this is a whole thing in Alexander technique, which is my training. We don't even just think of the body and mind as connected. We acknowledge the wholeness of our whole self, and that the body and mind are one. We are one whole thing. So where the body goes, the mind goes. Where the mind goes, the body goes. It's all interconnected. And so the other piece of this, so those things, are stressing us, and we're stressing us as we're at a computer, but we might not be feeling particularly stressed, and yet we get sucked into the screen. We get in this hunched down, scrunched up posture, and it turns out being in that posture can actually bring on feelings of stress. So it's two-way. There's been lots of studies that have shown the connection between posture and mood. And so, as I was saying, these contracted, compressed, making ourselves smaller type postures have been shown to be associated with feelings of anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and even depression. And if you think of the word depression, to depress something means literally to push it down, to depress it down. And so the postures or the physical manifestations of depression are this diminished posture. So it's all interconnected. And please, I'm not just saying improve your posture and your depression will go. That's not. I'm just saying there is a correlation between our physical and mental state. And so vice versa, when we're in a upright, open, expansive posture, these have been correlated with feelings of joy and pride and confidence. So definitely interconnected. So what can you do about it? So first of all, I'll ask anyone who's on the live right now, what do you notice about your own posture, which is not my favorite word, or physical shape, shall we say, when you're typically at your computer or on your phone? Maybe you can just write in the comments, do you normally sit fairly upright, or would you say you slump down, hunch down a bit, get scrunched up? What would be your norm? It's really common, obviously, to be in that more hunched up, slumped posture. So what can we do? So the first thing with anything I teach, in fact, with anything you're learning and discovering about yourself, is awareness. Start being aware of what you're doing. There's no way we can change anything if we're not aware of it. And sometimes I know we might not become aware of it until like 3 hours in, and we notice because we start to hurt. So it's starting to tune in and check in with yourself sooner on what you are actually doing. I'm just seeing Desiree's comments that it depends, and yes, it's different in different situations, depends how she's sitting, and that she maybe raises her shoulders a bit. Yes, I think that's very common. We start to round and raise up our shoulders as we kind of are getting into things, and maybe even more so on our phone, but definitely over our computer, especially if we have it on our lap or something like that. But yeah, at our desk, for sure. So that's common. So yes, so starting to be aware and starting to tune in sooner. And so the more you can bring yourself these moments of awareness, the more you can be aware, if that makes sense. It's like if you stop practicing to be aware, that maybe at first you only notice after 2 hours how you are sitting, but if you make an intention that maybe you're going to notice after an hour, or after half an hour, after 10 minutes, and then we can make little adjustments or modifications in how we are sitting and how we are thinking about how we are sitting. So the second piece of advice, we've got the awareness, is I am not going to tell you to sit up straight, which is the common postural advice that you hear and would seem like the obvious solution, right? If hunching down is not good, then sitting up straight must be the answer. The problem with what most people do when they sit up straight is they use a lot of tension and force in their body. And so one, this is not maintainable over time. It's going to be uncomfortable. You may even get pain. I think Desiree just mentioned that she gets stiff. You're going to get stiff if you're doing this too. So it's not going to help. It's kind of like going from one extreme to the other. However, we do want to invite a more natural uprightness. You might say a relaxed upright posture. I like to kind of talk about easy poise. So we're not stiffly up straight, we're not hunching down, but we're at a lovely balanced place in between where we've found our natural uprightness. So not so easy, especially if you can't just sit up straight, right? So my advice as we're starting to get to know what this is, if you notice yourself hunching down, instead of thinking to yourself, well, I must sit up straight, just think, could I just undo that a little bit? Could I just let myself come out of that a little bit? Could I just gently let myself come out of this a little bit? So being gentle increments, being very gentle with yourself, soft, and that as soon as you start to feel that you're using force and tension to come out of it, you know you've gone too far. And so my third tip relates to this, and this is a thought or a self-direction, a little message to yourself, something that you can think that can help with this. And it's a direction that a lot of my own clients really take to and enjoy. And you may, if you follow my work, you may have come across it before. And it is to think, I am free to be my full height. I am free to be my full height. So that is giving yourself permission. It's not about forcing yourself. It's about allowing yourself to find your natural uprightness and to take up the space that is rightfully yours to take up in the world, but not to try and take up more and not to do less. It's an invitation to just take up what is naturally yours. So try that thought out. In fact, if you want to just try it right now, just think simply, very lightly, I am free to be my full height. And just notice if anything shifts in you. And if you try it right now, either if you're with me live at the moment, and hi Donna, nice to see you too. Let me know in the comments. Did you notice a change? Did something shift a bit in your body when you thought that? I would love to know how you get on with that. So let me just double check my notes and make sure that I'm covering everything. Right, so what I had forgotten is I do have a class coming up. This is why this topic is on my mind so much, because I have a class next week. It's called Finding Ease at the Computer. And today's the last day to get a bonus I was offering, which is my ebook, which is called 12 Lessons in Easy Poise. So if you are interested in the class, it is the last day to get that bonus when you register. And I think there's only 2 or 3 spots left at this point. So I'm going to just put that information in the comments for you if you're interested. And of course, the class will be addressing more of ways to address exactly what we're talking about today. So just bringing it back to our topic for today. So your 3 pointers, if you do notice yourself feeling stressed as you're working at your computer, or notice that you're in this physical shape that will be causing you tension and stress, that kind of hunched up, scrunched up, shoulders up, shoulders rounded, head forward. Or if you notice that you're maybe trying a little bit too hard to be in that, what we might think of as good posture, you can also use this awareness to bring you into something that's moving you toward a more natural uprightness. So one is awareness of yourself in the moment. And sometimes even just that is enough to make the shift. So awareness, then don't sit up straight. Just allow yourself to think about gently undoing the compression or the tension. And you can think, I am free to be my full height. So I hope you enjoyed those tips today. I'm trying to keep these lives a little bit shorter to about 15 minutes because I know people are busy, and to expect people to sit and watch longer, I know I tend to, move away. So I'm hoping that if I can try and contain them to roughly 15 minutes, that will be better for you. All right, I'd love your feedback. Don't forget to register for the class if that's something you're interested in, and you'd get the bonus today. And thank you for joining me. I'll be posting, I'll have another live next week, and I'll be posting the topic for that soon. All right, bye. Have a great day and stay safe if you're here on the East Coast and awaiting this snowstorm. All right, bye.